All right, everybody, welcome inside the den here for a brand new edition of Dry Heat with Mike Davis. You're going to see this on Sound Off Sports as well. I'm so excited to not only have another East Coaster in here, which is super important to me. You already know that. But the guy who's the first magician to ever win AGT. He's a guy who now he's coming up. He looks so young. I don't know how he's extended now his residency through 2030. He's already done, I think, 10 years. So it's pretty crazy to have the one, the only, Mat Franco here in the studio. 1T, Mat Franco.
Pleasure to be here.
We were just saying this, Matt. First of all, congratulations. Extending through 2030 at the LINQ.
Yes.
Magic reinvented nightly.
People can be reinvited now that we've renewed for 5 more years.
People should come back. I got to say, it's one of the best shows. We're going to get into why I personally love it.
Okay.
But in this seat you're sitting in, Dan Marino was in that seat, and it looked like I did a magic trick when I said the name Dan Marino.
Well,
why is that?
It was the only name you dropped. So I was like, what a good one to drop. I mean, I grew up watching Dan Marino play. My brother's really big into football, so he had pictures of Marino on the wall. I did too, actually, because of him. And yeah, we grew up rooting for the Dolphins because of Dan Marino.
So being in Rhode Island, I mean, Pat's land.
Yes, Pat's land.
This
for
is,
sure.
I mean, you would think it would be Drew Bledsoe, it would be Tom Brady, it would be these types of figures that would be important to you, but it's not.
No, I've had to suffer on the Miami train for all these years, watching all my friends celebrate the Patriot victories over and over and over again.
You realize this means you have a heart of gold. You have all the excuses to be a Pats fan since you're from that area, so you could have all the winning, all that pedigree could be yours.
Yeah,
Instead,
but I commit.
You're going to suffer.
I commit. I'm very loyal. I started Magic when I was 4 years old. I just never stopped. For some reason, saw the Dolphins, was a fan, never stopped. So it's like I just kind of stick with what I like, I guess.
I want to get into you as a 4-year-old because I learned about how you taught yourself, and we got to get into Grandma Eleanor.
Okay,
and all that stuff. Who's a big fixture. I think what's so spot on about your show is, of course, your skill set is tremendous.
Thanks.
But I think it's super heartfelt. It's probably the most heartfelt show in terms of magic that I've ever seen, which I love. And I think the storytelling quality is big. But today you're here because, listen, you extended through 2030 at the LINQ, the Mat Franco Theater. You said it started as a dream, but now this has become your life's work.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be at this place when you've been on this grind since 4?
Yeah.
Literally.
I'm just thankful to have an outlet where I can share, I think, the best version of my work with people, right? Like, it's so fulfilling to be able to walk in and have people from all over the world come see the show and walk out better than the way they came in. I mean, it's just about making people happy.
Yeah.
It sounds cliche, but that's why I do what I do.
Well, you have a true genuineness to yourself. And I think, when you came on America's Got Talent, you really showcased not only just like a passion, but I think like the storytelling nature is so high level. To me, it's so fascinating because you would think all you have to do to have a residency is to have the skills, to be able to do the close-up magic.
Sure.
But I think what separates the people that are at the highest level of their game like you is the fact that it's almost like screenwriting. It's like there's
100%.
a story that's baked in to the trick, and then the trick almost becomes secondary. And that
100%.
So you demonstrated that at AGT. When did that click for you? Because I know at 4 you get on this journey. You're performing all around the country. You even go back to your alma mater, University of Rhode Island.
Yes.
You're performing colleges. But when did you figure out, hey, the next level to this is actually making it like a motion picture, a story?
Yeah, I think really slowly over time. I think magic is storytelling. Whatever your art form is, if you're a singer, songwriter, if you go to a concert, every song has a story, right? If you're watching a movie, it's the story that sucks you in. And I think magic is the same thing. And this is what people don't realize. People think it's like, oh, fool me, or how did he do that? But that's like such a small part of it. It's really just a vehicle for storytelling.
Yeah, but some people do it in such a more natural way. And I think for you to be, a kid from a normal situation, growing up with family, Grandma Eleanor's, has this patience to work with you. But at 4, you literally teach yourself because you almost did this the old-fashioned way where you would have a VHS.
Yes.
You saw somebody perform at 4, and
Yeah.
then you would actually slow it down.
Yeah.
And then through slow-mo, teach yourself what the magician was
Yeah,
doing.
when you mention VHS or VCR, or
Right.
you can't say it's almost old-fashioned. There are people listening to this or watching this that are like, now it's
Yeah,
gibberish to them, right?
It's true. Yeah, I don't
but yeah,
want to
no.
admit that I'm that old, but sure.
It certainly is. That was how I learned. But I think it's all just POV. It's point of view. The way you say some people tell the stories more naturally, it's just point of view. My point of view is that the story is the most important part.
Yeah.
The magic is You say it's almost secondary, but I believe it is secondary. Not to say that the magic, it needs to be good, but that's just like the bar.
Yeah.
Like to go above that bar, everything else needs to be fantastic.
But it's fascinating because some people, it really isn't. Like David Blaine, I would say it isn't second. I would say it is secondary. I don't
Perhaps.
think the storytelling is first for him.
Perhaps.
Shin Lim, it's kind of fascinating because what he does is he kind of, I don't want to say manufactures, but the whole thing about him being a trained classical pianist and then his hands get damaged, so
Sure.
that's the mechanism that kind of pushes the story forward. For you, it seems like your childhood was just a blessing, a very regular, average family, middle class,
Yes.
American. So
Yes.
to be able to not have to manufacture, but also be a good storyteller with that,
Oh, thank you.
it's cool,
Well, I think you're right, and I think you're saying this is what makes it different, and I think you're right, which goes back to why I said it's all just point of view.
Right.
My point of view is my point of view, and you're right. There are other people who do it their own way, and I think that's what makes their way interesting. I think you have to put yourself into it.
Yeah.
I think if David Blaine told a story about my grandma, it would seem inauthentic.
He might have a personal relationship with Eleanor from the past, but who knows? But everybody's different. So
Yes.
and it's fine. It's interesting to find that space. So when you see Oz Perlman doing
Yes.
all this stuff now, and how did you identify? At some point, a musician's like, what is my sound? Or a comedian's like, what is my voice? You work years on developing, even for me in my career, it's like, what am I bringing to the table different? And I think that's what's so fascinating. When you're 4, you just have a dream. You're not thinking about voice. You're just literally making it happen.
Yeah.
I want to use an expletive, but you're just like, you're just making us happen.
Yeah. Well, to this day, I try not to manufacture what that voice is on stage or here or through my work. I try to just find my authentic voice, and I do that by trying not to think about it too much. If I overthink it, I think that's when it maybe becomes manufactured. But by just going out there and by being you, I think the audience gets a piece of you, which I think is why they're sitting there.
100%. And I think what you do better than anybody is there's the family-friendly quality. I think you're a teacher too. Like the way you teach through, I like, and but then the skill set, that's why it's almost, I almost feel bad not even going first to just how amazing you are, because you have to have that. But then it's just, you're doing so many other things at a high level that it's an afterthought.
It is an afterthought for me too.
Yeah. So 4 years old, you see a performance on TV, you start slowing it down. I think you ask your parents for like a kit.
Yep.
You go to kindergarten the next day, you're already performing. Now, Grandma Eleanor is this figure in your life who really takes the time to like be your first audience.
Yeah, I miss her so much. She just passed this past year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, she had 96 great years, going on 97. And yeah, I mean, I think about her all the time. I talk about her every night in the show, and it was amazing to just have that person that when I would say, okay, I messed up the trick 5 minutes into it, right? I got to start from the beginning. And then that happens 20 more times. And she's sitting there eagerly waiting for it to work along with me. So it's just...
tell me, what was it like when now 10 years, right? Here in Vegas?
Yeah. Say that again.
How many years were you performing here as a resident
so far?
Yeah,
we're celebrating 10 years this year. Yeah, so we're in our 11th year now.
So how often would she come to show? Tell me the first time she was like at from AGT to
it is amazing
from your living room.
Yeah,
for her being on the Strip, seeing her grandson do this.
I'm so thankful she got to be there for so many milestones. It's crazy to think about from the beginning. She didn't travel much. She was basically agoraphobic, very rarely left the house. So it was a big deal. I wanted nothing more than for her to come to the magic shop with me when I was a kid, which was in Boston. So we would take a bus to go to that, right? Because my mom didn't want to drive to Boston with the traffic and the craziness. So we would actually take a bus. And it was like a miracle that I got her to come to the magic shop with me. Then the next thing was I wanted her to come to a magic convention with me in Cape Cod. And she did that. And then, fast forward a little bit, I was performing on AGT at Radio City Music Hall live for millions of people. And I kind of knew at that point as an adult, like, she's probably not going to be able to make it to New York City. That's some place she's never been before. It's not something she would do. And she did it. She came to the finale and saw me win. She was there. I mean, just unbelievable. So I'm thankful she got to see all that and got to see my, kind of my Magic Reinvented Nightly show when we brought it on the road. We performed it at an arena in Rhode Island at the Ryan Center on the University of Rhode Island campus, 4,000 people. But the most important one sitting there was her. So very cool.
And she was here for Vegas too?
Never came out to Vegas.
Never came to Vegas.
Never came to Vegas, but got to see the show on the road.
On the road.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I'm getting chills because it's almost like I'm feeling you opened up her world, like sometimes it takes like a love for a grandson, a love for a family member to just, to open up somebody's world. I mean, imagine,
for her, it was a miracle that she
but imagine that level of love for her to actually be able, she was agoraphobic.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So were you because me, like my bubby, that's what I call her, Jewish and grandma, whatever. I like wherever she has to be a part of something, even if it's like a Passover Seder, it's like, I can't just worry about, I'm bringing my girlfriend to meet my parents for the first, I'm worried about my butt.
Yeah.
So were you worried about your grandmother, Eleanor, more than even performing on AGT that day? Like,
of course.
How is she getting seated? Is she okay? Like,
yeah, of course. I mean, I literally met her at the train station and because I just felt like that's what I had to do. And then, of course, the reality team of the show, like, we have to go shoot that. Wait, what time is it coming? I was like, I'm just going to pick her up.
Oh my God.
But I'm so thankful. I found the footage just a couple of weeks ago, and I forgot it existed. And I was like, it would almost brought her back to life. It was crazy seeing this footage from 10 years ago of us at the train station in New York City. I mean, just unbelievable.
Does she ever? I know it's different generational, quirks, but does she ever pull you aside and give you a moment before she passes, like, and says, Matt, like, you were a little kid. I remember when you were just, I know there's that photo with her and you're sticking your tongue out.
Yeah.
Did she ever just say to you, like, you actually made this happen?
Yeah. I mean, she was never shy about reminding me of any of that. And also she wrote all of us, I have two older brothers and anyway, she wrote all of us a posthumous letter that we received after she passed.
What?
Yeah.
How did you get it? Like carrier
my
pigeon?
mom. She gave them to my mom and uncle to distribute to certain family members. Yes, after. Well, I didn't read it until after she passed, and it sits in my nightstand.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
See, that's why you
Outstanding.
you live it and breathe it. Like, that's why if you haven't gone to see Mat Franco perform live, you do have old school Disney qualities. Like,
wow, what does that mean?
Like, I'm saying, like, Aladdin, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, like the feelings that would be.
I know those feelings. Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what I'm trying?
No,
to
I really
say?
didn't know what you meant.
Okay, so what I'm trying
now I do.
What I'm trying to say is, like, for everybody, listen, there's not a lot of things in today's society where you feel a connection with an audience, and then there's something that's very sweet because it's just so well crafted that you could share it with your child. You could share it with your girlfriend. You could share it with your parents. Like, there's those feelings. I remember being at your show, and I'm not the biggest Magic guy.
Sure.
My brother loves it.
Yeah.
So whenever my brother comes to town, I always.
I'm judging him for liking it. Magic is weird. No, you're my audience.
But I'm just saying, I think the in for me very quickly was just how much it does feel like watching a Beauty and the Beast, and it's just like your affinity for your family.
Am I the beauty or the beast?
You're both.
I'll take it.
You're both. I mean, you have any. But so I would say, like, I would really implore people to go, because I think if you're searching for those, we need in today's society those moments that you feel so good about. So I just love that, and everybody has a different in and an angle here on the Strip. But it's really special what you've done. So when you were at AGT, I got to ask you this, because like the other day, I just had one of my first national TV appearances the other day.
Okay.
In the sports world.
That's exciting.
Which was big.
Yeah.
They told me it was going to be an 8-minute segment.
And then?
I spent about 6 to 8 hours prepping
No
for
doubt.
that 8-minute segment, just to make sure it was cold. Known like the back of my hand.
Yep.
For you, how many hours did you practice in the mirror for this AGT, the first AGT, when you go out in front of Mel B and Howard Stern, everybody's there. How many hours would you say? Because I know the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours concept.
Yeah.
You already had that built in from all your performances, but I'm just saying for that segment.
Couldn't even guess. I mean,
you don't even know how many.
It's like a disease for me. If I start practicing something late at night, it's very likely I could stay up the entire night.
I couldn't go to sleep the night before.
Yeah,
I couldn't shut my brain down.
I mean, any night. I mean, like tonight.
Tonight.
If I were to pick up something and start practicing it, I will look at the clock and it will be 5 a.m.
Wow.
I lose total track of time when I'm practicing. Practicing is a meditation for me. I have to be careful with it because I'm so hyper-focused on it.
I mean, it seems like you were like that even at 4.
Yes, I've always been that way. I've never been like getting distracted and wanting to do something else. I have to be reminded to eat.
Right.
I have to be reminded that sleep is important. I have to be taken away from it in order for it to be healthy.
Now, is that healthy? In order for
at least it worked out.
Right. So do you think, I mean, and I always ask this to people because I love when high achievers come in here, like, your boy Dan Marino, all this stuff. But do you need that? Do you actually need that sickness, that obsessiveness?
Ooh, probably.
To actually get to the level is there anybody who you think?
For longevity, yeah.
Right.
I think you need it.
So is that what makes
it? To an extent,
You would think so, right?
I mean, you might not have it, and you might, but like if you don't have it, you could. I'm not saying you can't succeed, but it might just be a different ceiling, right? Like you might not want to continue because you get focused on something else easier.
So how your ceiling, and that's why I'm so fascinated, is because you're now extending your residency through 2030. You've already been in this 10 years here.
Yeah.
How do you make it new for each and every audience? Because in order for the audience to connect, it has to feel new to you each and every night. So, reinvented nightly.
It does feel new.
So you're almost reinventing it for yourself each and every. But how I know from being on this side of the table, that's not such an easy thing because it does become a job. Even though that's why I think this quote is so interesting. It started as a dream, but it became my life's work. And I think that's very honest because I read that more as like, yeah, you are a veteran now, and it is a career, and it's not. There is an element of it being a job. So how do you make it? I know, and
I'll tell you the element that's a job. Like the element that makes it a job is. This is gonna sound really silly. No one's gonna feel bad for me. But like when I get to the theater, I have to get dressed, right? So I'll go in my street clothes, and I have to change into whatever I'm wearing for the show. Mm-hmm. That's like the hardest part. Like that's the part that makes it because I don't necessarily feel like doing that. I feel like doing.
You want to dress like Adam Sandler every day.
I mean, that would be a dream. Yeah, if I could pull that off on stage, the way he just walks around in Hollywood is how I would love to walk out on stage. But I have more respect for my audience than that. Right?
That's your only issue.
Not my only issue, but that's an example of what makes it a job.
Right.
That's what makes it a job. There are emails makes it a job, right? There are a lot of little things, little minutia that make anything a job. But like the actual going out and doing the show is what makes it fun. So
and what's your ceiling? You mentioned ceiling.
Oh,
I think you haven't even hit your ceiling yet. So what's?
Of course not. This is just the beginning, Mike.
So
what are you talking about?
So tell me, what do you envision?
God, I don't know.
You really don't?
No.
What would be the next level for you? You got the residency thing on lockdown. What's the next level for this?
I'm always just looking for more ways to share magic with more people. So I flow with the landscape of what's going on in entertainment. I don't invent it. I flow with it, right? So, there's right now social media is that thing. Podcast is that thing. Maybe I'll do another, special at some point where I can say, okay, I'm finally ready to burn this material to make room for what's next. All of those things are possibilities and things we actively work on all the time. But I go with the flow. And here's how you know it's true. Because here we are in celebrating 10 years in Vegas. But if you go back to my audition on AGT, which you referenced, where I'm dealing the cards out, telling a story, I said, people often ask, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I threw out a 10. And I said, but even just 5 years ago, and I threw out a 5. And I said, I would have never guessed I'd be here on AGT auditioning for this amazing audience, or whatever the exact line was. But those words weren't just to ditch, a way to get rid of a 10 and a 5 in the deck. Those were true words. I believe that. People always say, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I think that's just a crazy question that I'm not willing to answer. For me, I like to take one step at a time, and I don't set specific goals. I set broad goals. So it's which is counterintuitive for a lot of people, but I don't say I want to have a residency in Vegas. That was never my goal per se. It was, I want to do magic full time. That to me was a realistic enough goal. And then everything else had been icing on the cake. I didn't say I want to win America's Got Talent. I said, I would like to get some footage of me on national TV.
Wow, it's so fascinating because each and every person has such a different vision for how they execute these dreams. You know, that's what's so crazy to me is that I think, seeing is believing. That's why I think so much we see so many of these children of professional athletes become professional athletes. And I don't even think it's so much because of the pedigree or the DNA. I think that's a factor. But I think it's more so the mystique of growing up in a household where your parent is doing that. And it's just your schlubby dad. It's your schlubby, you don't have the same, even if your dad's Dan Marino, it's your dad.
Yeah.
So you have a belief innately that, hey, I can actually probably figure this out.
Greatness is achievable and you are who you surround yourself with. So if dad is that person,
it just works that way. But for people like you and me, it's a little different because my dad wasn't a talk show host. I didn't know how to make it happen. I just knew I was going to make it happen.
No one in my family, you would think they were all in the witness protection program. I mean, they see a camera, they run the other way. No one wants to be on camera.
Right. So how does that belief occur? Because to me, the fact that you can't see 10 years down the road and you didn't have that parent who was a professional, it makes it even harder because I don't know how you almost have to be blindly believe. You have to have this belief in yourself that's so ridiculous.
Yes, it's
that
so
you
ridiculous.
Can see it.
Yeah.
So how do you answer that?
I think because my family believed in me.
Right.
Yeah, I think they never said, that's crazy, you can't do that. They never said that, even though it sounded outlandish to them.
Right.
So.
And when you were getting you had a business administration degree and a comm studies kind of thing at college,
yeah,
right?
So I studied marketing, which is part of the business program at URI. I was a minor in communication studies as well. And that was all just sort of to
appease?
Support them. No, not even. It wasn't like I was forced to go to college or anything like that. But I did feel like I was supposed to go at that time. It certainly felt like I was supposed to go. But it was to support my magic habit, really, because in show business is the bigger word, and I knew nothing about business. I knew a lot about card tricks and nothing about how to turn it into a business. So I had to learn how to do that. So and then you just had this belief that, hey, you know what, beyond doing something traditional, because we all have that pull early on in our career where it's like you start getting, it's like the tide starts drawing you in to be more normal and to kind of follow the herd or
how
go with the
do you
pack.
remember when that hit you and the moment you were like, I'm gonna, no plan B, I'm all in?
I think tenacity and discipline might be more important than talent in all of this stuff. If you just keep trying and just keep pushing and just keep showing up, I think you get somewhere.
100%. There's a self-help book called Talent is Overrated that I love reading all the time. I think for everything, it's like that, right? Yeah,
there's really something about just continuing to show up. I'm not exactly sure when I figured that out. I think you asked me, no, it might have been what I did before this. They said, did you have a hero? And Jeff McBride, who has a magic school here in Las Vegas, I saw him on TV when I was growing up. I went to a session of his right around the time I was finishing college. It might have even been in New Jersey.
Wow.
And he was doing like this 4-hour intense session teaching magic for serious students, and there were maybe 4 of us.
Serious students?
Yeah, like they take it really seriously and are trying to get to the next level.
Okay.
Like this is not something you would just sign up for if you're like
Right.
12, right?
Okay. You have
So I was an adult looking to maybe take the next step of I'm finishing school, what's next? And he said, and this is my childhood idol, looked me in the eye and said, "You can absolutely do this." And the other people in the class are sort of middle-aged hobbyists. They're not looking to...
How old were you?
I was just finishing school, so I was 21, 22,
And
right?
he actually said that very seriously.
He looked me in the eye and said, "You can absolutely do this." Now, would he have said that to any student? I don't know. Maybe he says what he really believes and he felt that I had something and, I don't know. But he said, "You can do this." And I looked at him thinking, well, he's done it. Why not me? And that was kind of the day I made the decision. Like, I'm just going to do this full time. Like I was asking him questions like, what do you do for health insurance? Like I was asking really logistical, methodical, boring questions of like, what does it take to take this passion and actually do it full time?
I love that.
Because if not, I got to start applying for jobs.
Right.
You know?
I love that. I mean, it's really, I think it's a blessing that you took it that seriously to know just the minutia, the little things that nobody's thinking about.
I knew that I didn't know it. I knew what I
Right.
didn't know, and that's what I tried to find out.
To be that serious about it, I think is a true. What is it about magic? Because I'm watching like this movie over the weekend called Nuremberg. It's whatever. I don't want to bring the temperature down, but whatever, Nazi war film, whatever. And one of Hitler's, his second in command, this Hermann Goring, he's in a cell awaiting to be. Your face is so serious.
I mean, look at the topic.
No, this
was a shift.
Here's why. Let me work this out. So
I'd look like a psycho if I was sitting here like this. Yeah.
He's in a cell, and it's just top of my mind. He's in a cell awaiting trial for the Nuremberg trials, big deal. And the Army, U.S. Army, has a psychiatrist who's trying to gather information about him in just doing a lot of that stuff. He shows him a trick, and he's a guy who's doing card tricks constantly. Rami Malek plays him in the film. So he's constantly doing card tricks, and he actually is able to connect with this Nazi war criminal by magic. And it's so fascinating it's such a human, I guess what I'm trying to get to here is that magic is such a human connector. It's weird between a child and a Nazi war criminal who's setting up concentration camps.
Yeah.
It's so amazing that can be the bridge to a human, whether it's 2026 or it's 1945.
It transcends language too.
What is it about magic? It's just, what have you discovered now being a professional at the top of your craft for all these years? Why is it that great connector?
Probably because it's so niche. We're around music all the time. We're hearing it all the time when we're driving, when we're in a store. Comedy is much more mainstream, just like straight stand-up. But magic is like a little bit more on the fringe, and it's just not something we're accustomed to seeing all the time. And even if you do, I mean, I've been studying this stuff 30 years, and I still get fooled all the time. Now, I do surround myself by some of the best magicians in the world, but I get fooled all the time.
Wow.
So like there's always that element of like, wow, we really don't know everything.
Yeah.
Far from it.
I love it.
So.
I probably could have made an analogy without going down the Nazi, but it's top of mind, and this is just supposed to be flow of consciousness.
Yeah, it is.
Give me your Mount Rushmore of people in this space, magicians, mentalists. I want to know.
It has to be in the magic space or entertainment or what?
No, magic.
Magic specifically?
Yeah, I want to and you can go all the way back to.
I've been asked this
Houdini
before. I've been asked this before.
Okay.
But I think it may have been in a more magic specific forum, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was. So the names that I'm going to give aren't probably names that are mainstream recognizable all the time. Right?
Yeah, that's good.
But you want them anyway.
Yeah, I want your personal.
Okay, so I wonder if I'll even be consistent with what I said last time. Probably, Jeff McBride for sure.
I got to look him up. I don't know.
Yeah, so he has the Magic and Mystery School here in Las Vegas. One of the most unique performance types that he's just really unique stuff. He was doing masks and kabuki theater. I mean, talk about putting yourself and your inspirations into your act. That's where a lot of that comes from. And I knew watching Jeff, I could never pull off the stuff he was doing. It was so bizarre. I mean, he's wearing masks and pulling red silks out of his eyes that looked like blood. I mean, it was just like, it was just nothing like I could ever want to do, but loved watching it and loved the unique aspects of it.
Is there a reason why not everybody knows his name, and he's that talented? Like, I'm always curious about
I think it's a really niche type act. I mean, he spent most of his... I mean, look, I think a lot of the people with the most talent in the world don't necessarily get the recognition they deserve all the time. That happens a lot, particularly in showbiz. A lot of it, there's a lot of luck that goes into it. But also, he spent a huge amount of his career never saying a word on stage. He would perform in whiteface and never speak. I mean, it was a really exotic, esoteric type of performance that he does and did for a long time on the Fringe for sure. Johnny Thompson, I think, is on my Mount Rushmore as well. He passed away at 84 years old, and he was a mentor to me when I came out to here in Vegas, but he's worked with everybody. Penn and Teller, you name it. He was the guy that people went to when you said, hey, I have this idea. I don't know how to make it happen. I don't know how to do this trick, but I have a crazy idea no one's ever done before. And then Johnny would say, well, here's 4 different ways you can do it. I mean, he was just, he'd forgotten more magic than any of us have ever learned. He knew so much.
Okay.
I need 2 more now.
Well, Houdini's not on this list.
No.
What, and why is that? I find that very interesting. You're not inspired by him.
I'm not inspired by Houdini. But
I mean, wasn't he like, a founding father or no of this?
Yeah,
but you
absolutely.
just don't think.
I love Houdini.
Are you sure?
100%.
Okay.
But you asked for my personal Mount Rushmore.
Okay. All right.
Right? So like Houdini was an amazing marketer. And he was more in the realm, like when his fame really blew up, was more in the escape realm. So like if you ask David Blaine, Houdini would very likely be on that Mount Rushmore, and he's very much followed in those footsteps of doing these endurance stunts and publicity stunts, really, right? And Houdini was a master at that at a time when like social media didn't exist. But everyone knew who he was, and to this day you tell someone to name a few magicians, Houdini's going to be on the list. So he was an amazing marketer, and not to say that he wasn't skilled as a performer, but I think what he was even better at was marketing. So what did I say? I said Johnny Thompson, Jeff McBride, Lance Burton.
Okay, yeah.
So this is a Vegas name that you'll recognize. And he was the magician I grew up really watching his TV specials, because he had these full specials. So he wasn't just an act on a show. He did an hour on NBC annually, right? So I got to see a well-rounded performer that did the jokes, that did the serious stuff, that did family, that did stories, did big illusions. He had to have it all. And that was a huge inspiration for me. And the last one on the Mount Rushmore is a magician out of Chicago originally, Bill Malone. And Bill Malone he was one of the top performing corporate magicians in the world, made an entire career performing for corporate events and big Fortune 500 clients. And what I took from there is he was so funny. Everything Bill does to this day is funny. I can't pick up the phone and talk to Bill without laughing my butt off. But there's a lot of funny performers out there. He also had chops. His sleight of hand skill is the best in the world. I mean, I'm just going to say it. It just above everybody else. But to have that and also the performance chops that he has, very rare combination, extremely rare. A lot of guys are really talented. A lot of guys are really funny, but to have both, that puts him
I
on
love
there
it.
too. So that's my 4 for sure.
It's great because it's just so funny it's almost like asking a musician who is, a musician's musician,
Yes.
That's what I love.
Well, I'm naming them.
Right, and you're naming
But it goes further. Then I need an entire new, whole separate Mount Rushmore just for magicians in Spain. Spanish magicians do things differently.
Wow.
And it's changed my entire outlook on magic and how I perform and create magic.
Okay, well, let's do this, but do it in Spanish for us.
Hola. I've been studying Duolingo for 900 days so that I can learn more about Spanish magicians.
Hey. I think your intensity.
I'm very intense.
It's funny because
you got me going here.
It's funny because you're not a Tom Brady guy, being from Rhode Island and all that stuff.
I love Tom Brady. I don't hate the Patriots. No, I'm just not allowed to.
But you remind me a lot of him because it's that dedication, that intensity, that I think discipline and that there is an intensity and a drive there that is so paramount.
That's why he has no ceiling.
No ceiling.
Yeah.
Look what he's doing now.
Yeah.
There's so much I want to get to. We have to wrap, but there's so much more I want to ask you about marriage. How many, when you were dating, how much magic you did on at a bar on like. Did you ever used to use your superpowers?
No,
dating?
never. And a lot of people do. It's not for me.
I would think it would be the number one reason to get like at 4. That's to me what would be the driving.
You were
motive.
like that. You were
not
that
4.
into it at 4 years old. This guy started young.
Maybe 14.
14. There you go.
That would, it'd be like, okay, let's, I'm seeing a whole new, angle.
You were just going through the kindergarten class, introducing
Right.
yourself to
I'd
all
be
of
like,
them.
Grandma Eleanor, can you introduce me to your friend? No, we'll get it next time. We'll do that. Maybe.
Yeah, well, look, for me, I'm going to get into it next time or no?
Say, I'm just curious. Did you ever? Because I think it seems like you have it all. You have the marriage. You have all the. It's hard for I think a lot of people to have that balance. And you seem like a very healthy guy. Like I'm asking this selfishly because
A lot
I
of
don't have
people don't think magic is cool as you do. Now, you said you're not a magic guy.
No.
But your brother's into it. Already, you're more into it than most people.
Gotcha. Yeah.
For the average person, magic is not necessarily an upsell. It's like, huh? It's a little bit I'm very self-aware of that, always have been. So I never came forward with it as like, I would never tell anybody even when I was a full-time magician, unknown, but touring nationally for like colleges and stuff. I would never tell people what I do for a living. Not because I was embarrassed, because I just didn't want to get into it and try to say, oh, but because then you have to go, oh yeah, no, it's magic, but it's cool. What I do is different. And now you have to justify it. Never. So it never becomes cool until it precedes you. And when people know, oh, that's so-and-so, then it's cool. Yeah. But until then, I was always sheepish about it.
All right, it's a good way. It's a good answer.
Make sense?
It's very honest.
Well, yeah, very honest. That's what you said. Stream of consciousness.
I love it. Listen, this is what you get when you go see Mat Franco nightly. You can go see him at the LINQ, the Mat Franco Theater. It's cool to have a theater named after you. That's
very cool.
That's when you got to a great level.
11
years here. It's just the beginning. His ceiling. He has no ceiling.
We all don't.
You
just have to believe that.
It's true. It's true. Some people do have a ceiling, though, I believe.
Only if you give yourself one.
Listen, he's Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, all those Lion King vibes. That's what you get, and that's what we want. The great Mat Franco, 11 years here in Las Vegas. Now he's going to be here through 2030, a big extension with Caesars. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
We're very happy for you. And when you come back next time, it's just going to be you teaching me tricks that I can go up to bars in Summerlin and hit on people with.
I'm happy to teach you a couple of bar tricks. Okay. Yeah, but you have to call me Prince Ali.
100%.
Fabulous he.
It'll be you, me, Jeff McBride. We'll do it. It'll be like the Avengers. We'll just.
We certainly will.
We'll go around Summerlin and there
yeah.
we go. All right. The great Mat Franco. Thanks so much for joining us.